Sabrina Carpenter is currently running the most successful psychological experiment in modern pop music history. On paper, she is a self-proclaimed feminist icon whose music is supposedly for the girls. Yet her latest album cover shows her on all fours while a faceless man holds her by her hair. The quote tweets were an absolute dumpster fire. Fandoms are currently at each other's throats on TikTok, debating if this is peak liberation or just old-school patriarchal submission wrapped in a pink bow. The wildest part is that the industry is actively funding this chaotic, polarizing debate for pure profit. If you look at the leaked production timelines and the aggressive PR strategy, the entire rebrand smells like a highly manufactured industry plant operation. Behind the cute baby doll dresses lies a much more cynical machine than any of her fans are willing to admit. Welcome back to the internet's favorite basement. Anyway, before breaking records with espresso, Sabrina spent an entire decade suffocating inside the Disney Channel machine. Her early musical eras featured heavy streetwear, grungy outfits, and absolute commercial disasters. Then the infamous 2021 Olivia Rodrigo drama happened. Rodrigo dropped driver's license, publicly exposing Sabrina as the older woman who allegedly stole her teenage boyfriend. The quote tweets were an absolute dumpster fire, instantly branding Sabrina as a home wrecker. When your online persona becomes completely radioactive, an aggressive corporate pivot is the only business move left. Her team immediately scrubbed the grunge aesthetic, debuting a hyper-feminine 1960s vintage baby doll look. Now let's talk about the uncomfortable lore behind her new signature wardrobe. The baby doll dress was popularized by a scandalous 1956 film about an infantilized teenager who sleeps in a crib and seduces older men. From its literal inception, this garment was engineered to blur the line between childhood innocence and sexual availability. 90s rock icons like Courtney Love paired these dresses with smeared lipstick and combat boots to look intentionally disturbing. Sabrina does the exact opposite, using them to market a clean, compliant fantasy for male validation. She is currently one of the most heavily sexualized pop stars in mainstream music. Is this actual empowerment or just an unhinged corporate cash grab? But the calculated aesthetic goes far deeper than just short-lace outfits. She regularly poses for official promotional shoots while clutching soft plush toys on children's playgrounds. Her controversial SKIMS lingerie campaign looked identically like a teenager's bedroom. Reddit threads instantly called the backdrop deeply unsettling and predatory. Sabrina later explicitly told interviewers that the shoot made her feel like a young girl again playing in her room. That is not fan speculation. That is her own narrative description of a lingerie campaign. Immediately following that massive public backlash, she doubled down on Saturday Night Live. She wore fake braces for a sketch about middle schoolers grinding, and her songwriting choices are actively leaning into this exact same discomfort zone. Her viral track Juno is named after the 2007 movie about a 16-year-old dealing with an unexpected pregnancy and a predatory older man. Sabrina watched that specific film and wrote lyrics begging a guy to make her Juno. On stage, her choreography involves simulating explicit positions while singing about romanticized teenage pregnancy. TikTok clips of these live performances racked up millions of confused views overnight. Her nightly concert outros for Nonsense are specifically engineered to go viral on X through crude double entendres. In Singapore, she explicitly sang about looking like a niña, which translates to a little girl. So who is this target audience? Historically, an innocent doll aesthetic paired with intense submissive imagery is built strictly for the male gaze. Glasgow Women's Aid, an actual domestic violence charity, put out a statement calling her album cover deeply regressive. They argued it reduced women to pets and normalized toxic elements of control. A viral tweet with 80,000 likes stated that the imagery set women's rights back by 50 years. Sabrina completely ignored the victims of abuse and publicly dismissed them as pearl clutchers. She even released a separate alternative cover for fans to buy instead, essentially laughing in the face of advocacy, except straight men online are weirdly unbothered by her entire existence. If you check X or Reddit, the loudest defenders of this submissive imagery are actually teenage girls. One viral TikTok comment claimed that men simply do not understand peak girlhood. Sabrina skillfully evades feminist criticism by pretending she is completely above male approval. Her lyrics are intentionally written to sound like a messy female group chat. Her track Manchild literally forces live audiences to chant that men are stupid, slow, and useless. Her song Slim Pickings is about using men strictly for sex because their brains are non-existent. Her secret formula for writing massive pop hits is calling men incompetent. Her fan base watches her roll her eyes at men and concludes she is reclaiming her power. They genuinely believe her hypersexualized submission is just sophisticated satire. The male gaze does not care about irony or satire. A man who enjoys seeing a woman on her knees does not stop enjoying it because of a TikTok comment. Men have practiced selective listening since the dawn of time. Modern internet culture has successfully trained young girls to believe that voluntary submission is a feminist act. They think cashing the corporate check automatically means empowerment. That is an incredibly low bar for actual liberation. There is nothing radical about giving a male-dominated industry exactly what it has demanded from young women for decades. Being a thin, hyper-feminine, submissive blonde doll is the safest business move a pop star can make. It builds massive empires. Calling it a feminist revolution is an absolute delusion. It takes old-school corporate objectification, wraps it in a shiny pink bow, and sells it right back to Gen Z girls. They think they are consuming a revolution, but they are actually funding the exact same system their grandmothers fought to escape. Sabrina Carpenter is not an independent mastermind running an independent empire. She is a highly profitable cog in a massive corporate machine. The individuals sitting at the very top of her music label cashing the largest checks are the exact men her lyrics pretend to hate. She is not selling a male fantasy to men. She is selling a male fantasy to women. Young girls have been conditioned to believe that looking like a submissive doll is the highest form of power they can achieve. That is not empowerment, it is just highly successful corporate programming. We have raised an entire generation of young women who genuinely believe that being wanted by a corporate-defined man is the highest version of themselves they can reach. The real tragedy is that their idea of peak girlhood revolves entirely around male drama rather than female solidarity. Is it possible to have genuine female empowerment in mainstream pop music when the entire machine is managed by a corporation of men? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Stay safe out there and see you in the next video.